Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm talking about multi-purpose makeup. And that doesn't mean buying a product that is marketed to you as a multi-purpose product. Today I'm going to show you how I do my makeup when I want to get more use out of a product. Whether you want to use a product up that you don't really like for its intended purpose, or you're just like too lazy to get everything out in your makeup collection, there's a lot of products that can really do double duty for you. Some very surprising ones too. So let's get into it. Okay, let's start off with the base. One of my favorite things to do is to use concealer as foundation. It's a great way to get more use out of a product. This is the Kosas Revealer Concealer. The problem with this one is it's a little bit too dark for me. So it's kind of just been sitting in my collection since the summer and I just want to use it up. So I'm going to use it as foundation. Just slather it on my face. Obviously you can't highlight with this kind of, I was gonna say strategy, that's not the right word, with this kind of technique because you're only using one concealer. But I feel like sometimes you really don't need to go through that whole process of concealing and trying to shape your face a little bit differently. And I find this really works if you have more of an emollient concealer. I don't think you would want to use like a heavy, thick concealer all over your face, although that might be good for acne coverage, so use at your own discretion. I really enjoyed the finish of this concealer. It's pretty hydrating and dewy, and actually I don't like it as much as a concealer, so it's nice to be able to get more use out of it. So I'm just going to go back over spots that actually need more coverage, but this is going to be a more light coverage look in general. And I'm not going to worry about taking this down my neck right now because I'm going to be wearing a turtleneck and I'll bronze up the neck, so I'm not going to worry about the shade match too much. Okay, a little bit of powder to quickly set the most important areas for me, which are the eyelids and the under eyes, and right here in the pores, T-zone. One thing I also like to do is I'll often just kind of forego foundation and just use my powder as foundation. If you have a colored powder, they will provide some coverage, so if you don't feel like doing a more kind of overall dewy glowy base with the more I'm really struggling right now with the more emollient concealer, then go for a powder foundation and it'll give you a decent amount of coverage. And if you have relatively good skin, I mean, like, you're not worried about covering too much, then a little bit of powder foundation. If you're oily, do a little bit of under eye concealer, quick on the spots. Super easy look that I used to wear all the time. Okay, so this one isn't revolutionary. I think a lot of people do their makeup this way now, but bronzer is such a staple in my makeup routine because I can use it as bronzer. I can kind of forego blush and just use bronzer sometimes. It can be used for contour, and I think it's great as eyeshadow. So I'm gonna do some overall bronzing. Try to make my forehead maybe look a little bit smaller. This is not my look. Like, I'm not I'm not a fan of putting my whole hairline on display, but sadly I end up wearing my hair in a bun like this quite often. But it's really not my preferred look. There's a lot of real estate up here, truly. So of course we're gonna use this to sculpt the lids. It's the easiest makeup you can do, is just quickly sweeping it through your crease and then bringing up from the outer corner. That sounded weird, outer corner. Do you guys just ruminate on mispronunciations of words? Or if your voice sounded weird in a moment, you're just me? I don't know, my brain just says it over and over again, like, you idiot. It's not nice. It's not nice brain, but I think I shared this in one of my last videos. I'm kind of experimenting with nose contour right now too, so I just use the same bronzer to do everything. So I take this up into my eyebrow area, bring it down the nose, and now I'll actually just kind of fill it all in completely. And then do a little bit of this. And then I'll go back in with a highlighter. It's kind of like a little hack for not actually having to be precise about where you're putting your lines, because you're just going to cut into it anyway. Moving on to blush, I have this Jouer blush duo in Coquette. I think if you have a blush this color, you're not going to want to contour with it, but if you have like a warm kind of blush, you can use it as your bronzer and just replace bronzer completely. Obviously I didn't do that today, so I'm just going to use this blush as is. And if you put a bit too much on like I did, you can always use your translucent powder as a way of blending. And I think I'm tempted to put a little bit on the nose too, just a tad. But I also recommend you really try using a little bit of blush as eyeshadow. Like I wouldn't recommend it doing with a very dark kind of brick red blush. Like it might get away from you and become too much, but if you have kind of like a nice pink, it's a great way to get a monochromatic look and add a little bit of color to the eyelid without having to get out an eyeshadow palette. It's like you just have a few products, it's easy to do it all together. Okay, moving on to the eyes. One of my favorite multi-use products right now, which is not advertised as being multi-use. And I think when we think of multi-use, it's easy to think of like cream products where you have a cream multi-stick, which is like a blush, can be used on the lips, can also be used on the eyes. Although I think cream blush on a lot of people's eyes doesn't really work, like it creases quite a lot, for me at least. But I'm using my Glossier Monochromes palette in the shade Bluff. I've shown it before on the channel, but it's become an actual face palette for me. It's really just 3 shades of eyeshadow just done in, it's supposed to be monochromatic, so it's done in different finishes where you have a matte, a shimmer, and like a very high intense glittery kind of shimmer. But what I've been loving about this is that I can use the matte shade on the lid. I'll just give myself a little bit of highlighted dimension right here by cutting into that eyeshadow we did with a little bit of white, not white, but like flesh tone, for me, a flesh tone shade. And then I'll use the shimmer as a highlighter in the inner corner. And I've discovered that the shimmer is also really great as a highlighter. So you can use eyeshadows as highlighter. Just make sure you have the right texture. You don't want one like this one here, right here is too glittery. If you can see kind of chunky glitter in it, then it's too much because you don't want to have chunky glitter on your face. But if it's kind of like a smooth shimmer eyeshadow and looks like the similar texture as your highlighters, please try it on your face. The fact that I just have this one palette that I do my eyes with and I can just jump over to other areas of my face just makes life so much easier on the days where I want things to be easy. So I'll go into the shimmer shade again and I'm going to highlight with it. See, I think that's really pretty for my complexion. So if you have something like this and you're a bit deeper than me and it's more of like a champagne or kind of leans gold, that could also be really pretty. It doesn't have to be these pale colors. And from here you can put the shimmer all over the lid. I'm going to use the more intense glitter one, and I like to just press in the center and then I bring up here onto my brow bone so it's visible because I have more of a hooded eye. So it's just press, press, press. Like it's so easy to just, this is like 5-minute makeup for me. One thing I also love, like I have been doing my makeup like this so often, is using the Glossier Brow Flick. You can use any kind of brow pencil, or not pencil, liquid pen like this. And it's meant for you to flick little hair strokes in your brows, but it also doubles as a subtle liquid eyeliner. It's like such a nice shade of brown if you don't want like a very bold black eyeliner look. And I find that it also helps where since it's not as bold, it's like not as noticeable if your wings aren't the best. So I love this, but since I do it so much in my recent videos, I want to show you a new product that I found that I think is just like everyone needs this. So I got the Makeup Forever Artist Pencil, and I think if you would look at this while you're shopping and you see the color range, you would think that's a lip liner, which I think most people do use it solely as a lip liner, but it's so much more than that. It can actually be used all over the face, and I'm discovering it's like one of my favorite products. Because I wouldn't, well, this one is called Endless Cacao, and like this is not a shade that I would go for typically, but I find that all my lip liners kind of leave too much of a warm line for me, and then when my lips fade, it's just like this really weird rim of like, it's just too warm. But this one allows you to contour, and it's not as noticeable, and you can use it in your brows, you can use it as your liner, and you can use it as your lip liner. So that's what I'm gonna demonstrate right now, and I think you guys might, I don't know, you might want to try it. So I can just make a shadow down here that makes my lip look fuller. I think I have way too much blush on. Okay, moving on to the eyes. I wouldn't recommend you actually put it inside your waterline if you've been touching all these different parts of your face, but I think it's really great as an actual liner along this line up here. Because you can do it almost messy too. And it gives you like kind of a smoky appearance that you didn't even have to work for. Like you could do this kind of with shadow and start blending it out and then reapplying it and blending it to get that kind of smoky look, but I just think it's so simple in this form. And of course you can also use it in your eyebrows. I gotta be a little bit careful because it does come off a little bit warmer than my eyebrow shade, so I don't go too heavy with it. And look at that eyebrow definition from a lip liner. Who would have thought? Not me. Okay, I'm gonna throw on some mascara. I know it's well documented that you can use mascara as eyeliner as well. If you just take some off the brush and you have like an angled brush, but I don't have that intention right now because I'm going for my little smoky wing, so I'm just gonna throw on a little bit of mascara. Obviously we're almost done. I'm gonna use just a lip balm. This is nothing special, it's like from Blistex. It's got SPF in it. Obviously I already did the liner that you saw, but to tie in the blush, which is a lot of blush, I feel like I wasn't intending to go this dark, but to tie it in, I'm actually gonna go back into the powder blush I was using, which you might be thinking like, that's crazy, well, you can't put powder blush on your lips. Well, I can, and you can, and I will. As long as you have that kind of smooth, glossy, not gloss, but moisturized base down, it's not gonna feel that bad and it's gonna add color. See how much color? Just blot it together. Although this is kind of still juicy from the balm, I'm just gonna put a little balm over top. And it's fine, it doesn't feel like I have gross drying powder all over my lips, but it helps bring all the tones together. Okay, let's flip the turtleneck up so we don't have to expose that the face doesn't match. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you're having a good day. This is a reminder to stay hydrated. One thing you need to know about me is that I'm kind of obsessed with water. It's pretty much the only liquid I drink, except for tea here or there. And I have like a massive bottle that's glass. You don't need to know this, but I think you do. Because I love drinking water out of a glass bottle. I think it's better for you. I think, don't come for me, I just think it's better for you than plastic. I like it better than stainless steel. I feel like stainless steel can kind of give you a weird flavor sometimes. And I actually have mine in a little carrying case. Like, I carry my water bottle around like people carry a purse. And I think that says a lot about me. Although I'm not very healthy right now. I'm not in a good eating mode. I've gained a lot of weight. But at least I can hang my hat on the fact that I drink water. That makes me feel good. If all you've had today is coffee, please, for me, just take a swig of water, please. Okay, I want you to remember, don't just make up your face, make up your mind too, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.